When Biden says that the Respect for Marriage Act is a vital step, he means this is only the beginning of the slippery slope. Bro, don't give the game away by openly showing exactly what logical fallacy you are doing by adding the logical fallacy into the argument.
As Joe Biden signed what the Washington Post is calling a landmark bill to protect same-sex and interracial marriages. Now, you thought that interracial marriage has not been a big deal in the United States for approximately 50, maybe 60 years. And you'd be right. The whole purpose of shoving interracial marriage into the same-sex marriage bill was to pretend that if you oppose same-sex marriage, it is the same thing as if you oppose interracial marriage, that racism and quote-unquote homophobia, that these are all the same phenomenon, that really it's all about bigotry and evil. That's the reason why they shoved all of this into the same bill, so that if you voted against federal enshrinement of same-sex marriage, then you were also voting against federal enshrinement of interracial marriage, right? It's a particularly vicious and stupid game.
Dude, he's so mad. He's so mad. I mean, this is kind of fun to watch. Like, it's the bare minimum that the Democrats did, and it still was able to like trigger the fuck out of Ben Shapiro.
Cream of the American crop. It's the best that Western civilization has to offer. President Biden on Tuesday afternoon signed the Respect for Marriage Act into law, according to the Washington Post, granting federal protections to same-sex and interracial couples, marking a milestone in the decades-long fight for marriage equality. And so I think that it's important to note here that what we saw yesterday at the White House, the beginning, it is not the end. Everybody who's pretending that this was the end point of the same-sex marriage movement, that the end point of the LGBTQ minus plus divided by sign movement is going to be same-sex marriage, is dead wrong. And it is very clear that the goal here, the goalposts keep moving. They keep moving because in the end, the LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign movement is not merely the idea that they should be able to live the lives that they want without being bothered in the privacy of their own homes. The idea is that the ideology that undergirds their belief system must be imposed on you. But the case that the left made on this was that marriage really isn't about the production of children. It's really not about creating family units. Marriage is just about who you love. And once they had redefined that.
I mean, marriage as a concept is a social contract that is enforced by the state, that's totally created by the state. It's just like so incredibly strange to act like it's this natural phenomena, that's naturally occurring phenomena, especially when you like appeal to nature. You realize that like nature is gay as fuck too. It's especially gay. Nature is trans as fuck too. Odd that like Ben would try to make this concept work. The claim that like also marriage is about like children. I don't know what to tell you. Like there are couples who can't have children. You know what I mean? There are male and female bonding couples that also can't have kids. So what's up with that?
The world's going to Hades in a handbasket. We are desperately concerned about the circumstance relating to avian flu. We don't have enough vaccines. We don't have enough police officers. And we're going to debate the next 3 weeks, I'm told, gay marriage, a flag amendment, and God only knows what else. I can't believe the American people can't see through this. We already have a law, the Defense of Marriage Act, where we've all voted, or I voted and others said, look, marriage is between a man and a woman, and states must respect that. Nobody's violated that law. There's been no challenge to that law. Why do we need a constitutional amendment? Marriage is between a man and a woman.
That was Joe Biden in 2006. It is now 2022. 16 years is not all that long a time. And now Joe Biden is on the lawn at the White House celebrating same-sex marriage being enshrined into federal law without proper protections for people who disagree that same-sex marriage is on the same moral par as traditional marriage. I mean, it's pretty amazing stuff, is it not? And it suggests that when people like Joe Biden say in 2006 that same-sex marriage is not on the table, they are lying to you. They are not telling you the truth. And when they deny outright that, for example, that when they say, we're not coming after your religious community, we're not coming after...
I don't even think, like, it's not like Joe Biden had a change of heart or anything. It just became like the politically fashionable thing to advocate for. And that's pretty much it. But also, why are you still bent about it? Because Ben Shapiro himself on the Joe Rogan Experience routinely fucking talked about how when everyone was forced into submission by big LGBTQ, Ben also made it seem like he wasn't homophobic. That has changed. If you look at like 2016 Ben, even he had like lib-ass takes on gay marriage because there were like the gays, the fucking gays for Trump movement. And like it was not even a thing that people could talk about, you know, because everybody understood, yeah, it's perfectly valid for two people to get married and have the state recognize their legal marriage. Here's Shapiro on Rogan in 2016 about gay marriage.
Same-sex marriage. That's the other thing that I think that we do. Well, we agree with the marriage thing.
Right, on a governmental level.
The government should be involved. But why do you care if two gay guys want to get married?
So from a religious point of view?
Sure, let's go from religious first.
So the religious explanation is that there is something different about a woman than there is about a man, and a man is made better through his union with a woman. And that if you pervert the sex drive to pursue mere pleasure instead of a lasting relationship upon which the basis of society is built, then you are foregoing the proper use of your sex drive.
Right, but if you wanted to step in and argue against that, you would say that just because someone can't get pregnant doesn't mean that they don't have a loving relationship that contributes to society.
Well, that's true, but it is also foregoing the more productive relationship of being able to bear and rear children, and also recognizing that the sexes are not different, right? And recognizing also the sexes are not the same. Right. So, being with a man is in a relationship.
He's trying to like so desperately bring it back to transphobia, which is a conversation point Joe Rogan is also comfortable having, you know what I mean? Like, he's trying to fucking hit it from an angle that, like, it's like, well, the sexes are different, and they want to deny it. It's like, no one wants to deny that. It has nothing to do with same-sex couples, though. It's completely irrelevant in this conversation, okay? The only reason why Ben wants to bring up the sex conversation to be like, oh, sex, and like, of course, equate sex to gender, is so that he can get someone who is otherwise like transphobic on board, okay? Which is just completely irrelevant. It's not a real reason anyway.
Relationship different than being with a woman, I would assume. I mean, I assume that's why gay guys are gay. If it weren't, then I assume that they would be fine with being with a woman.
Right.
So that relationship from a religious perspective is more valuable because women have different qualities than men. You round off each other's harsh edges. It changes you. I mean, being married changes a man in a different way that being married to a member of the same sex would.
Right, but I don't want people to have to do it. But if you're,
I'm not forcing anybody, right?
But I want them to have the option. And if you're a gay person and to say you don't
legally?
know. No, I mean, of course,
because legally we agree, right?
Yeah, legally.
And I keep making this distinction because whenever I talk about my moral perspective on things, then people immediately.
Oh, so you legally do agree on gay marriage. Got it. Okay. I sure hope his opinion doesn't change. I sure hope Ben's opinion on gay marriage doesn't change. Yeah, back when fucking the court wasn't 6'3", motherfucker, that's what changed.
Immediately assume that I'm a theocratic fascist, and I just want to keep underscoring like my
thank
personal.
You.
Oh, he's not a theocratic fascist. What changed? Well, he is one now. Oh man, that's crazy.
All those intermediate institutions will be destroyed, and in the end, it will just be you and the state and nothing in between. And that is the goal that Joe Biden is actively attempting to pursue right here. It's not going to make America stronger. It's going to make America insanely weaker. It's going to lead to an incredible rise in depression, in polarization. People without any sort of intermediate societal structures, they tend to be chaotic and confused. They don't have any sort of guidance. They don't know what the rules are. They feel as though they're on a desert island except for a distant state, which tells them that they should be happy because they have nothing to be tied to. But human beings don't actually exist as atomized individuals in the world. That is not how human beings actually work. We are not atomized individuals in the world. We are part of families. We are part of communities. We are part of things larger than ourselves. And that thing can't just be Joe Biden at the White House celebrating as the height of American life, radical individual autonomy. That is not enough. That cannot support a durable society. That's been the case that the left's been making for a very, very long time, is that the durable...
I don't get it. Why is Ben all of a sudden a rugged collectivist when he's talking about like what societal rules everybody should follow? I thought he wanted radical individual autonomy for Americans. I thought that was at the heart of Americanism, being an American. Am I crazy? What's he talking about?
The most durable or important form of society is the one where there are no standards and no rules, except for a society that mirrors back at you what you are feeling at any given moment. That is not a society. That is a chaotic, anarchic, bizarre amalgamation, chaotic tyranny.
It's so weird.
Tyranny on the one.
2019 Ben should have a conversation with 2022 Ben about how he's not a theocratic fascist. And of course he believes that, like, you know, gay people could get married from a legal standpoint, but like he has a moral issue with it or something.
Views on Dave Rubin's marriage are of no consequence to public policy in any way whatsoever.
Right. But I agree with you on that, and I don't think it should be a part of public policy, and I think people should absolutely be allowed to marry and divorce and do whatever the fuck they want to do no matter who it is. But why do you care? like as a person who's a rational thinker, it's pretty clear that people are gay. And I don't really think that this is a decision they make in terms of like, I'm going to make a clear choice to defy God and be gay. I think they're just gay.
Well, again, I think that's a conflation.
And I don't think it's everyone.
It's a conflation of identity and drive with activity, which is something that religion fundamentally rejects.
Yeah, in 2019, Ben's take basically, I remember because I remember covering this, and at the time people were like, Ben's not homophobic, dude, you're wrong. In 2019, Ben's rational thinker ass was saying, if you're gay and you want to be Jewish, you have to marry a woman. Just, control your urges. That was his rational and nice take.
Okay.
Right. So religion fundamentally rejects the idea that you are driven to do something. Therefore, It is your identity. Therefore, you get to participate in a behavior. That's a chain of thinking that religion does not accept. So in
religion, if a man is gay, in your religion,
yes.
If a man is gay and they're in love with another man, they should just squash those thoughts and find a woman.
Well, ideally, they would be honest with the woman they marry, so they're not like messing up the woman.
But they would want to go and get a woman.
Ideally, you would still get married and have children in a heterosexual relationship. If you're not up to that, then you wouldn't get married at all.
When you describe this to a gay man, they will tell you.
I love his ideal, dude. His ideal is like, you're still supposed to fuck women over. You're supposed to fuck yourself over and chain yourself to the notion of holy matrimony and a lifetime of like torture, pretty much. Where you can't fucking be yourself. That's so sick. Thanks, Ben.
Imagine Ben Shapiro.
Just be honest
Someone
with your
said
wife,
to you should stop being with your beautiful wife and you need to now marry a man because this is what God wants you to do. So you're going to have to shtup this man and he's going to shtup.
This would have been pretty funny. It was like, Ben was like, actually, I did that. He claims that he doesn't care about the legality. He's like, it's fine, you can do it, whatever. I'm not a theocratic fascist. And yet is basically doing the theocratic fascism now, advocating for that theocratic fascism now. He thinks that this is a viable winning strategy, which I think he's wrong on, for the record. But it doesn't even matter because like the Supreme Court could technically undermine said civil liberties. Well, not for this one, because now it has congressional approval, so good luck unwinding that. It's very strange that he plays fast and loose with like what his true perspective is.
On one hand, and bizarre chaos on the other. It's almost an anarchic tyranny. Like on the very local level, it's anarchy because you don't have any intermediate institutions. And on the national level, it's tyranny to enforce the anarchy, to obliterate all of those intermediate institutions. That is really what this is about. Again, this is why he keeps saying this is a first step. So Joe Biden says, by the way, there is nothing more decent, more dignified, or more American than two dudes getting married or two ladies getting married and forcing people of traditional bent to bow to their whims.
One can be married in the morning and thrown out of a restaurant for being gay in the afternoon. This is still wrong. Wrong. And that's why the people you heard speak today continue to fight to pass the Equality Act.
Okay, the Equality Act goes way further than what exactly was in the same-sex marriage bill. The Equality Act basically obliterates all individual rights in the name of the government telling you that you have to abide by Joe Biden's view of same-sex marriage or gender identity or sexual orientation.
Like, ideology aside, conservatives are they're so annoying. Like, even if we for a second forget about like the impact, like the human impact of like following through on their policy proposals are, like with respect to undermining civil liberties and stuff, their entire worldview revolves around being a fucking nuisance. Like, I can't be happy if someone else out there is being happy. It's like such a weird complaint. You know what I mean? And even if you were to flip the script and be like, well, liberals do that too. It's like, well, okay, what is giving you happiness? Being racist to fucking marginalized communities? Because like, then you are a piece of shit. It's like it's so weird that even if you look at this like weird, arbitrary, incomplete left-right dichotomy, it's always like people on supposedly on the left or ostensibly on the left, like they're looking to open up more civil liberties and rights for marginalized communities. And then people who are ostensibly on the right, or those who call themselves centrists but are actually on the right, their entire worldview revolves around like, you're giving them civil liberties. That's hurting me. That's hurting me. It's like, why? Why do you care? Like, why? Why is that? Why is this? Why is endlessly pestering people who just want to live their fucking lives the way of the right? Like, why is that every fucking piece of like tangible legislative goal that they have? It's so strange. Like, when gay people get married, that doesn't mean straight people are now not allowed to get married. Okay? No one's doing that. Okay? The left is not the same as the right. It's so strange that they do the same thing with abortion. It's like, if someone has the capacity to get this medical procedure, an abortion, that doesn't mean women who don't want to get an abortion are going to be forced at gunpoint to get an abortion. And yet they make it seem like that is the case. No, it's just other people's shit. Why are you so bent? Why are you so fucking mad? So even when you like remove the policy and the human consequences of said policy, and you just look at it as like a negative rule or a positive one, it's like everything that conservatives and the conservative worldview revolves around is always like, well, you're doing violence to me by, doing whatever the fuck you want to do. When it's like, no, they're not. No, they're not.